really is pretty crazy to look at just because of how G2 has kind of gone up and down through this time. I'm really curious to see which map we're going to be playing on. So let's go real quick and check out our map ban. I'm quite excited to dig through that information. 6 down, 1 ready. Cafe Dostoevsky, G2 banning out the Oregon to go to the map. Hap, your face right now is so memeable.
Yeah, you know, I was just checking map history, and I clicked on this one match, which was Playday 1 of Stage 2. It was against a team called Secret. Many predicted G2 to win, and then a 7-2 came out, not for G2, but for Secret, and it was on, guess which map? Cafe
Oregon. Oh. God,
Cafe,
you're so smart, Hap.
It's gone through a little bit of a love-hate with G2 recently. They've been taking it out of a couple of occasions. It didn't go well for them, if I'm remembering off the top of my head, on the major. I can't remember who against. And since then, it's been a little bit on the back foot. But it's also, it was a great rogue map. And I think for this, if we see the best of their play today, this could be such a fun game.
Hap, your expectations?
It's going to be a tough one, but I think G2 is going to be continuing the streak and put Rogue with 0 points in Stage 2.
Ooh, I like it. All right, you know what? Hap gets sassy. This is what we need on the desk. G2 versus Rogue, and Cafe Dostoevsky will take it over to Cold Russia. And it's Dez and Jess. Jesutsu, all yours.
There's enough love between a brother and sister, they say, to keep the whole world warm. So even if we're going to the lovely cold winters of Russia, Milosh, there's much enjoyment and fire to be found in this game. G2 coming up against Rogue. Jess and I were talking just a second ago. We remember G2 on this map very well, not just from Secret a few days ago, but also back to last season against Na'Vi. And the one thing I have to pick on, Jess, is their drone economy. I know you love talking about drones. We know G2 aren't great at it. They've got to get it right here against Rogue, because although Rogue are looking shaky, so are G2.
I'm just trying to recover from that cringy introduction, but nonetheless...
It's called brotherly love. You have to make your sister cringe.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure I'm just damned if I do, damned if I don't. But we will get into those bans. And there comes that expected shield ban there. You get that away. Why? Because you don't want Pengu playing it. Actually, there was a time where, and I don't remember if Monty was banned, and maybe that's what forced Pengu into picking it, but we saw Blitz, and we saw it fail time and time again on this particular map. I don't want to see them make the same mistake here. I don't expect that we will. If we do see a Blitz come out, I expect it to be 6 picked off of. Otherwise, this does not bode well for G2. On Rogue's hand, however, this is their last day playing with their sub of Hosty. Does he step up and have a banger of a last game? Or do things look really dry? Bans are looking pretty usual to me here, Des. I don't see anything that stands out. Maybe this last attacker ban will. Maybe we see a mirror as well. But as current it stands, Valkyrie, Thatcher, Monty, nothing that springs my interest.
No, I think the Monty against G2 is a given how much they played it as well. You mentioned that Blitz, they did play it in 2 rounds and then dropped it away very, very quickly. It was about isolating players and taking map control very, very quickly. And I think that's the first Melusi ban we've seen.
That's why I'm gasping. Is this it? Is this the very first? Is this what kicks it off? You remember your BDS with
Is this what
Levi?
starts the Levi cycle where everyone then starts banning it?
Right. It's like, oh, well, that worked really good against G2. We're going to start doing it against, you know, every team. I mean, very possibly. I don't know. I love it. I love to see it. I want to see how it works. I think on a map like Cafe, it might not be as detrimental as other maps where there are tighter corridors, etc., where Banshees really play a key part of the setup. Instead of a shield, we'll see Pengu pick up the Kali. Interesting is last time we saw Virtue on it on this map, he played very poorly on it. Clearly it's been passed over to another player now, and that's Pengu.
The small thing I remember about G2 on this map is they aren't a team to run Nomad. I distinctly remember Citizen basically hanging on red stairs for the entirety of a round on Ash after he'd done his work in clearing out shields and such. And I always spoke about Nomad as saying it can be, when it's available and it's picked, you kind of detract players trying to play aggressively against you. And for G2, I think they were saying, no, please do come and try to go aggressive against us. We want to kill you when you try and do that. So maybe this actually is a sign of the lack of confidence they've got. We spoke around Citizen on the last Playday and how this has not been a stage to remember for him so far. In fact, it's been one of his worst performances in any season ever. So I'm hoping that with this little bit of confidence that maybe making sure your backline is safe, thanks to the Nomad, they can have a solid foundation to move forward from.
Ooh, what is this? Is this bathroom or reinforced off? I love this. I mean, this is starting to seem the meta now, is to have a secondary shield in bathroom, but you don't often see that fully reinforced off. They'll put a rotate there in case that player needs to rotate out quickly. Now they're just committing a player there completely. So if you have someone up on the AC vent over towards white window, that's a guarantee that they're dead. So I want to see how they play this. I'm interested, but I'm a little bit feeling shaky for them on that particular setup.
I have a feeling we've seen this already this season. I think it was in APAC. We have seen a team do this. And they tried to rotate off to the right-hand side. They left the north side. Yeah, they did. They left one of them soft on the right-hand side. Tried to rotate through it when they felt threatened inside a bathroom and died because of the pixel angle. So I like here how they're saying, okay, actually, no, reinforce the left one inside a bathroom on the left-hand wall, because that way you can retreat back into white corridor. You've just got to be super careful if anyone's trying to play on that east rappel.
Yeah, exactly what I was saying there before. But it looks like Pixel Spot will be their major focus for now, and really badly thrown flash grenades will mean that they're going to miss out on those ADSs, but Virtue gets a free kill to Leon Gids. Don't know if that was on the back of a drone or whatnot, but they were prepared. And the biggest thing there is that they do finally get that shield, but it was at the detriment of a lot of their utility. So now if they want to remove the secondary shield, I don't think they have enough utility to do so. And quite frankly, there's no rotate and freezer, so if you ask me, you just kind of leave it alone. But nope, there we go. It's getting opened up by a Selma.
That was aggressive from Virtue, losing half his life in the process. And credit where credit is due, G2 have kept 8 of their drones alive here inside the first 100 seconds of this round. Gotta commend the team when they do well, for something that you criticised them for quite a while. So making sure that information is on side. Some watching the runouts downstairs, some hanging around upstairs to gather information. They've got lots to play with going into these final 60 seconds or so.
Oh, good night. That was a long-range SMG shot if I've ever seen one. Thank you. Rips. Great player for Rogue, and well, for the most part, Rogue have been able to stave off that G2 attack for the most part, but with 50 seconds left, there's still a lot that G2 has in their arsenal to be able, or arsenal, I should say, to be able to do this.
Arsenal.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what word I was thinking of. It doesn't really matter in the end, does it? Yeah, it's all right. However, Pengu in a very precarious position there, especially when you've got a sniper rifle in hand. Not particularly one that you want to be able to challenge, nor with the SPSMG-9. With 25 seconds left, do they have this down pat? Because they don't really have the lines of sight covered.
Did you call me Hap then? Did they have this down, Hap? I thought you said, oh, God knows. I know you missed the guy, but sadly, I'm here to stay. Bags going in for a plant now from Pengu. Or Pengu going for a plant in Bags is the better way to look at it. But Hosty's up close with a double kill to close things out. And Corey hanging down on white stairs. I saw Virtue squaring up against him and thought, this will become a fight a little bit later on. They tried to challenge from 2 directions. And Corey is happy to put them in Leon Gids' bin. First round going to Rogue pretty comfortably once it came down to execution time.
Yeah, that was my big criticism there in the last 10 seconds. I said they don't really have the lines of sight they would need to be able to get plant down that they were intending to get down. Just because you throw down smokes, they're not brick walls, you know? They're not impenetrable. You can shoot through them. You can walk through them. Hosty made good advantage of the fact that no one was covering his particular line of sight, and then smokes were raining out left, right, and center. Unfortunate for G2, because it looked like that piano control was solid to begin with. They didn't really deal with that bathroom control until quite late in the round, and even at that point, they had given the opportunity for that player to rotate out. I wouldn't say it was horrific from G2, given how their previous games this stage have looked, but it's not positive, given that Rogue have looked even worse.
I feel like they kept their backline safe, like I mentioned, with the air jabs, with the drones downstairs to prevent the runouts. They anticipated the worst and sat and played very defensively, even though they were the ones on attack. And when it did come to trying to go inside the bar, they hadn't got rid of Hosty out of either storage or out of the bar. I'm not sure where he was previously. They clearly weren't aware of Ritz playing in the very back of Cocktail where he got that spray down with the SMG, and they didn't push at the right time to clear Corey out of white stairs. They dealt with all the things on the west side, but didn't deal with anything out towards the east side of that top floor, and that ultimately is what came back to bite them. A good, safe backline. Now you've got to start working on what's in front of you at the same time.
I like that they've kind of got these feet holes. Whoops. A little bit of a whoopsie there from Card Checker. I like that they've got the feet holes there that you can crawl through, but you can't crouch walk through. And a lot of people put a crouch hole there. I like the fact that it's not a full crouch hole, because for the most part, you would see most of those VIP players, of which is Rips at the moment, just commit to holding VIP or die. I don't remember a time where someone's been able to successfully rotate from VIP over and not at least have to undertake some gunfight of some kind. So I think he'll hold that with his entire life. And I like that it's feed holes instead, forces them to use some kind of utility on it if they want to get access that way.
You are right, absolutely. Often you'll find that you'll have the attacking side get someone on white stairs, so look through the patchy work that's going on the freezer wall, and there's always pretty much guaranteed to be an attacker looking down the red corridor or the red hallway at some point. So I agree. Rips may well be resigning himself to death here unless something magical happens in this round for G2 where they find themselves without a time. It is this particular site where I remember them always taking the most time against Na'Vi last season. They brought Pengu on the Monty, they cleared from top down, everything was part of the agenda to make sure everything was cleared out. They had one, maybe two drones left when it actually came around to pushing in through the freezer wall, and that's when they got stung in the back by Nello holding to the left with a shotgun, for example, or someone at long range inside of the other site just spraying them down as they stepped in the building. So pace here is the big thing I look out for G2. I always say 1 minute 30 is when you need to start getting that floor opened up to show that you've got enough time left to actually get the prep done and then execute. And here I think they've just about hit that bang on.
Yeah, G2's got a lot of control, but they weren't contested in any way, shape or form either. So it does beg the question, did G2 not really have those pre-placed drones in place or not? That might have been able to expedite this process. It doesn't matter either way. Because guess what? There's a lot of rogue players who are deciding to persist on site. The biggest thing here, and this is what I'm saying, if you're going to stay on site, you better be able to hit your shots better than the attacker above. And Kanto, with a slither of HP, shows us that, well, those vertical angles oftentimes work better for the attackers than they do the defenders. But yet another SMG godlike shot from Rips. We missed it, but it was the VIP onto somewhere. And when I said he's going to hold VIP, well, it's not VIP without Rips in there. He's the most important person that'll ever probably be in there for this particular matchup.
Ooh, Citizen just walks downstairs here and domes the hell out of Hosty, who is trying to play aggressive with Rips' support to try and do so. And Rip steps up and finds yet another. It looked like he might find a third, but no. Old reliable clutch god from last stage in Pengu steps up and brings him down. It's 3 versus 2, 20 seconds to go, and the smokes have been tossed into the site. But no execution comes out of the side of G2. In fact, I say that. Virtue finally drops in, finds one for himself. Kanto nades himself. What is this? But Virtue's going to make sure, don't worry, guys, it's all a prank. Picking up the final 2 kills onto Road to give G2 round number 2.
You leave it down to the last 10 seconds like that, and without someone like Virtue on the ace, there's no access into Freezer. That's it. So the fact that he was able to get that opened up and go, okay, we've gotten rid of the VIP person. We can't be challenged. We're down to 10 seconds. Flood the site. Not sure how Kanto grenaded himself. He was down to a slither of HP, mind you. So, okay, there we go. So I'm getting an indication from beautiful medics in the background, our beautiful observer, saying that what happened was obviously the grenade got shot back by the magnet in Freezer, and he's a slither of HP. Even a tiny bit of an impact of anything would have killed him. So not particularly his fault when you're trying to enter at the last second of a round and you can't really dodge it. But a 6-pick, a very tactical 6-pick from an IQ onto an IQ means, well, they might be able to spot out some of these magnets, which actually won't be present in this round. So I think that's what they would have brought it for. Because I actually remember all the way back speaking to Doki, they banned IQ against G2 on this exact map because that was what one of their crutches in finding the magnets and the ADSs. Boom! Memory times 10.
And when she says memory times 10, what she actually means is really we have, you guys obviously can't hear him, but Medics is sat behind the scene here and helping Jess out when she stumbles along the way. He's like a very well-built, sturdy chair. He's here to
like a
support
little
our
bit of
backs
appreciation.
and
No.
carry us the whole way through.
No.
He is an absolute legend.
You are the
Me and
worst
Jess know
big brother
nothing.
in the world. Please praise me for remembering such an obscure fact such as an IQ ban and the exact player who told me and the exact team.
Are we going with some really awkward like anime head pats here for you to feel better about it or something?
Yes,
Rather than
thank
just
you.
from
That'll
memory.
do.
Good job.
Thank you.
Well, sadly, you're the other side of the world. That simply can't happen. Leon, though, other side of the map, trying to catch someone in the spawn, and it was Uno he was looking for, down about a third HP, but not finished off. That's the second time now that we've seen Leon get into a firefight and not quite finish the job. It was Kanto in the previous round, Uno in this one. So close, yet so far.
I mean, most men struggle. No, we're just not going to go there.
No, don't do it. You already did this off broadcast. Let's not. No.
Struggling to finish? That sounds familiar. Nonetheless, we'll go into round 3.
She really went there. She did it,
I went
guys.
there. It's all right. It's okay.
Yeah.
No problems.
Great.
Going into round 3, what we want to see here from G2 is not a struggle to finish. What we want to see is that they capitalize on this round rather than waiting to the last 10 seconds to get onto site. I want to see their time management skills be a little bit more effective. They won the round, no doubt, and they were absolutely deserving of that round, but they need to be a little bit more confident with it. And by doing so, it means getting that verticality early on. And are they doing a top 4 hold, Des? I can't really see my particular observing view. Thank you so much, Medics. They are doing a bit of a top 4 hold here. So there will be 3 players holding them back, but I'm sure they can deal with them if they place a lot of drones and a lot of utility towards them.
So I don't know why you're asking me. It's medics you've got to pray to. Put your hands together, raise them to the sky and go, God, medics, please show me what is happening through these, I don't know, flurry of panels that are being smashed to pieces by the sledge. But you are right, it is this extended hold, and in fact, this is exactly how Na'Vi wasted time against G2. They forced them to spend 2 minutes fighting upstairs, very quickly retreated back downstairs, and G2 were left with about 20 seconds to execute, in which case, Na'Vi tripped them up half the time and forced them to lose crucial members in the dying seconds. That's a great angle from downstairs by Leon onto Uno, who had zero idea that he was going to come running out of the reading door.
I think all players suffer with a bit of tunnel vision, you know. They know exactly where someone is. They're holding an angle, dead eye straight, and Leon! He's the man of all angles, it seems. The vertical angles as well, and Pengu with the SPSMG9. Well, it's a mouthful and a half there, but it looks like he can control that weapon a lot better than most. And now they do have the verticals, but this is what I'm talking about. Time delay. A lot of them have drones, and one's just been shot there on the side of the citizen. But with this time left, you don't have time to drone.
No, they are really struggling for time. This is what I mentioned again about G2 versus Na'Vi. It always came down to time, of which they very rarely had a lot left. Pengu's going to have done his work upstairs, going to drop down and eats a face full of smoke. Going to have to back away here, and their attention now turns instead towards opening up the double wall into the library area. But again, with the amount of time they've got left, I don't think that's an option for them. A flank potentially coming out of Rips as well. Pengu going for that default plan. Karjek is in a great spot. Citizen watching the angle. Corey's down. Can they do everything for themselves here? Or can we see Rips pull off the impossible? A 1 versus 3. No, he cannot. And G2 here will not be denied. A couple of great kills coming in at the end. Secures the plant to go down. And that looked like a round that Rogue should have won, given how much time was left there, Jess.
Well, you do say that, and I think to myself, well, without that top floor control and a smoke that was incorrectly placed on that default plant spot, it actually was a bit of a freebie there for G2, but I really want to harp on Virtue for a bit. I know he's my Australian counterpart and, you know, a little bit of a love affair with all Australian players. You know, I want them all to do well, but the biggest thing about Virtue is not only is he a top fragger, but the reason he is the top fragger is in the dying sort of seconds of a round, he's in the right place at the right time, looking the right way. Whether that comes from game sense, whether that comes from information that his teammates are feeding him, or however that's come about, multiple of these rounds where he's played ace, I've noticed him be a big impact fragger. He's not just padding the stats, he's in the right place where the team needs him at the right time, and that's a really important part of being a support flex player.
It's a really strange day looking over the G2 scoreboard as well. We've commented several times. We cast them quite a lot, believe it or not, so far this stage. I think every single game of G2s we have covered to date, the big focus we spoke about was it's Uno stepping up and getting kills for them. He's not the fragger on this team. Very often he was top rated, coming away with the most kills for his team in all of their games to date. I think, in fact, in all but one, he has been the #1 rated player. And I'm not at all trying this to point out today that he isn't the top rated player. I'm more pointing it out to raise that the other 4 players are doing things today. They are contributing. They're picking up rounds with G2. They're picking up kills in these crucial execution moments. That is what has been missing for them for the season so far.
Well, for Rogue now, oh, Leon, a little bit of peppering shots around him on the pillar. I think for Rogue now, having lost that particular round and a round that you quite frankly said they probably should have won, I think their biggest thought process going into this particular round is you can't rely on Leon Gids to just be hitting those shots each round. Every other player has to step up as well, and I've been seeing Rip step up in that support role as well, but I haven't really felt like any of the other players outside of Hosty or Ramai in round 1 were really doing too much of the work in the round. Either they do what Leon's doing now and they meet them at the entry, or they play a full turtle planted up. You can't do a 50-50. You lose players in precarious positions. You can't trade them because everyone's, you know, committing to a 50-50 type of both aggressive and non-aggressive plays. It's too much to, I guess, be divisive on the team that way.
I don't mind them trying to play this kind of not right in your face, but also not turtle, where we saw them again trying to waste time. This site, admittedly, being a little bit rougher. And let's not forget how round 1 went again, where for G2, there was a very good focus on controlling Leon on the run out, on making sure their backsides were covered thanks to the air jabs, but no real focus on the longer range fights. So that's what I'm looking out for here, is how they unsettle those that are playing a little bit further back, how they get them off the white stairs, how they get them out of cocktail, because that to me is going to be crucial for them in this round. And already they're trying to pincer onto Leon, who's not playing inside a bakery, but instead is playing down here around mining and train. And I suspect he's about to get pinced on as Citizen. He's on the prowl, knows where he is. He's going to walk around and find him for free there. That's how you pincer a guy out. 2 or 3 members of G2 all hunting him down, and no support to come through for Leon means 1 down for Rogue.
The trouble with proning, especially these days where sound is a lot more amplified, is that you can hear someone going prone almost instantly. If you're in the next room, you're guaranteed to know that they're in a prone position. So I think for Leon, he probably could have played that a little bit more aggressive, especially if you're going to commit to playing that corner. You can't rotate out, but he did waste a heck of a lot of time. Look at this. It's almost a repeat of last time Hosty was able to cancel Pengu's plant out by being able to move through that particular bar and the smoke. And with 40 seconds left, it's looking like it might go that way again.
I think Hosty just shot a Selma off the wall into the bathroom as well, so that at least means that Corey can play in here a little bit longer. Wasn't aware that he was there, but Virtue's still going to win the shot. You mentioned him in the last round. That's a critical kill, as that Pixel player that normally can be so hard to unsettle is gone. Citizen, how on earth has he got away with this one for free? Gets into the north side and kills 2. Playing inside a cocktail, I asked you, Jess, what are they going to do to clear these players that play out towards the east? I guess you just repel in and kill 2. It's as simple as that. Corey's left by himself, a 1 versus 5. I'm pretty sure this is a flawless round coming through, and a 4K for Citizen. Welcome back to EUL, my friend.
Sometimes the adaptation doesn't even need to be that complex. Just something as simple as that is going, all right, boys, are they all looking your way? Do you have their attention? Yep, you're all good, Citizen. No one's playing heaven, so you just repel on in. And only was the god that G2 needed for that particular round, a 2K in a very critical players there who had very critical angles. Easy one for G2, and I was surprised that sort of he was able to repel in with almost no knowledge of any of those plays. Were the Evil Eyes destroyed? Did no one hear this? Was their attention really so focused over towards the end of bar in the plant? I don't know, but I mean, Citizen, he knows how to have impact, and that round again will go into the hands of G2. For Rogue now, I'd be sweating a bit. It's 1, defense on Cafe, and 2, you've not been having good games thus far in stage 2 at all.
Well, the thing is, neither of these teams have, right? As I mentioned, for G2, it was only really Uno doing, I guess comparably, it's been more towards G2. Yeah, very fair, given Rogue were on 0-4 at the minute. It has not been the start that they absolutely wanted. G2 have got the occasional point here and there, and it's a bit of drone running. I know, right? It's like parkour drones. What is this? But I was saying, I think for the boys, it's been a real big struggle for G2 to retain the form that everyone expects of them. It has been leaning on Uno an awful lot, and I'm glad that today we are seeing them step up again. Now it's about pushing that over the finish line, getting it all the way to that full mark. And they had a wonderful comeback against Na'Vi when they were down 5-1 in the first half. Here, maybe they don't even need to worry about a comeback. Maybe it's just an out-and-out win, even on the attacking side of Cafe.
Well, I wanted to get up the defensive sideness of the map, and there's been 3 plays of it in stage 2, and it's been about a 52% defensive win rate, but it's not a big sample size. And so what I wanted to do is make sure I checked stage 1 as well, because of course that's something that you can compare and see whether this is a defensive or attacking sided. But every time we say that, sometimes we're proving completely wrong, and it's the teams on the day, how they're feeling, how they're playing, what kind of adaptations we're seeing. So for G2 now, I wouldn't say that they're looking hyper confident other than that last flawless round. I think they're just growing into it. And sometimes I say to myself that I feel like G2's warming up to the match sometimes.
Can we also just kind of note in this game, it's something I didn't touch on earlier on, is that we've got Uno and Citizen essentially swapping roles here. The IQ normally went over to Uno so far this season, where Citizen was playing primarily on the Ash. But this game, Uno, the whole half has been on the Ash, whereas Citizen has been the one going between the IQ and the Nomad. So they swap roles. Yes, the Ash role apparently is still very cursed on G2, as Uno has yet to find a single kill. But for Citizen, this is where he's looking very comfortable, because with 7 kills to his name so far, making a big flank like that in the last round on the Nomad, things are looking up for them. And Sua said this to me in DMs about a week ago. He was like, look, Rome isn't built in a day. It takes time. The players are making a couple of changes and adjustments. We aren't going to look perfect from the off, but you know full well we are going to be back. Maybe this game is the start of that coming back he was speaking about.
Well, in stage 1, it was a 59% defensive win rate here on Cafe. So if that is anything, doesn't bode too well here for Rogue. You said Uno's not been having a good game, but he's holding a very crucial flank spot there. And instead of using drones or air jabs or relying on it, he's the one that wants to challenge down onto the white stairs here and displace Rips, who had a bit of a banger of the first few rounds there on the smoke. They're hoping he doesn't pop off here again because they really need that position to get into Freezer. And oh, Hosty got taken off guard by a little bit of an accidental wallbang there onto him.
Hosty was playing around this area previously and actually challenged Ben on the half stairs and got himself snagged in the head as soon as Citizen pushed around the corner. So I like that he's playing a bit more passively this time. It's still Kanto to get the opening kill, and 2 kills coming out. That air jab well placed to assist Pengu in closing out the kill. Once again, Leon is the opening death 4 out of these 5 rounds. It has not been a game to remember for him. And here we're into the point where the execution comes in. Hosty's rotated back through bar into the north side of kitchen to provide some assistance. You still got Corey set on the main door as well. So there are numbers here for the side of G2 pushing in. Hosty goes down 3 versus 2, and the plant is coming in from Pengu. A great flank from Corey here. Knows surely they must have an idea that he's around. In he swings, almost gets the second, but Kanto wins the gunfight with a double kill coming out at the close. Kajeka yet to really find much for himself this game in a 1 versus 2 versus Pengu and Kanto. We all have a good idea of exactly how this should end out because they know his exact location. All they've got to do here is hold the angles onto where the diffuser is and feel like they are in a wonderful spot. Out comes the Maestro, have a couple of zaps in to try and distract him. Not enough to pull Pengu's attention fully away, and he is using the environment so well here. Gonna swing round, does get one, knows where the last is. Can Kajeka pull it all the way back against Kanto as holding this long angle? It seems for now he's in a pretty cozy spot. Trying to go for it, but Kanto sees defeat, sprays him down. G2 take their 4th round back to back.
Much better G2 here that we're seeing. I would say that that flank there from Corey was super unexpected. And had he been able to have a little bit more impact earlier on in that particular flank, I think that we would have seen maybe a different round going out. Pegu had the plant down pretty well as soon as he came and he tried to flank onto Freezer. So I think Corey's timing there was a little bit too passive. And for the most part, he got swung on there, as you would expect. Pengu, I really want to praise him. And I know this is such an odd thing to praise a player about because they should be able to use any weapon, you know, even the SMG-12. We've seen a lot of players really perfect the recoil on that. But the way he's able to comfortably play Kali in comparison to how we've seen Virtue play it, for example, he comes in and goes, I can understand that my major weapon is a sniper rifle, but I'm comfortable using the SPSMG9 if I have to. And when he does have to, he is still comfortable with it. He doesn't let that be a detracting factor of him having to play Kali. He just goes, okay, this is what I'm used to. And it probably comes down to the fact that he isn't one of the main SMG-11 players for his team as well. So it's good to have a player be able to play an operator like that so proficiently.
Really keen to see what the setup is for Rogue. There's a lot of work going on downstairs with some reinforcements being committed, which you would assume from that side that C4s are going to be a big part of this round. They only have a couple on side, but the pulls coming along suggests again that they'll be playing around kitchen and looking to prevent the plants coming into fireplace and mining, a site that we don't see all that much on this map. I think many, because it was very split, quite separate in terms of how it plays out, many didn't feel very confident in defending mining itself. But there has been a small uptick, especially in APAC. I think I recall some really good rounds coming out between Xavier and Giants when they played on this map in the major. Teams are starting to make use of this site more and more, and I'm living for it.
There are a lot of players who started downstairs. I don't know if they'll persist downstairs or not, but they started downstairs, and I was wondering whether or not that was because they wanted to play C4s below. But, yep. There goes the Legion, and well, this bottom floor setup downstairs, yeah, and it was. That's what I think the plan was, to be able to have access down below if they did need a C4. But it was really poorly defended, and well, one of the key players will go down, and they've actually evacuated it completely. A couple of reinforcements, an impact for a rotate, a lot's been wasted, and this looks like a big advantage here, and oh, Corey barely walks away with his life as well on that cardiac sensor.
Citizen playing sniper with the IQ, absolutely trying to catch out the pulse as he retreated back up. It's a good mindfulness coming from them there, and as I mentioned earlier on, you are seeing Citizen on this IQ roll rather than the Ash as we might have seen historically. Seems to be working out relatively well for him so far, and the fact they've broken that downstairs hold now means all the attention instead goes onto the second floor. What I'm wondering here is if we're going to see Rogue taking some control of the top floor and using that as a second area of hold, and will G2 then be forced to have to clear effectively all 3 floors of the map? I don't think so for the most part. It does look like most of them are playing out on the second floor, but that's one thing to be mindful of.
I'm always interested in watching players who do that drone dodge where they try and spot a player out. But I mean, it seems like a bit of waste of time, and G2 needs every bit of time they can get, because even if you spot him, who is there to act on the information? He's pinging him, but for who? I mean, I have questions about that. It doesn't look like they're using their time very effectively on that side of the map, but look at this side of the map. They're ripping it apart left, right, and center. This bodes well because they've just got under 60 seconds left. They look like they've got mining control. Leon Gids wants to stop that, however, and a plant should go down.
Going now, one holding outside. Virtue still holding the angle in case a jump out comes through. And Pengu, I thought was going to get to committed, but how on earth has Leon come down red stairs? They knew that he was upstairs, and he still gets away with it. Finds a 3K in this round before finally being put to bed, but still looks like G2 are the ones in control. Corey's managed to snake his way back down here to try and find a C4 play to come out, trying to challenge up onto the red stairs. It looks like as this plant is still going down, will he be able to deny it in time? Absolutely no, he will not. And I think for a second there, he came off the angle at the wrong time, still going to find a kill. A 1 versus 1. The new and improved Citizen coming up against Corey. Is it going to be enough to close this half at 5-1 for G2, or will Rogue find something? The pressure is on Corey. He's the one who's got to stick this defuse. Citizen coming back out to challenge. Will Corey step up? It looks like he has, but they've got a drone in place, I think, here. They must know what's going on. You can even see the pings coming through for the side of Rogue. The information is there for both sides, and time is of the essence. It waits for no man. Citizen going to try and peek in, goes for the shots, almost misses it out, and Corey knows he's doomed. There's 10 seconds left. One more peek out from Citizen will be enough, and he manages to bait it. Even goes for the gunshots. What a mad lad. Citizen connecting those closing shots, because if Corey had won that one, I don't think it would have mattered. He would have lost regardless.
Really?
What a dance around the diffuser. I love it.
Yeah, really well done from Citizen there. I mean, it's almost like when you just know that it's the Monty versus someone else and they're trying to get that diffuse down. That's how Citizen felt there. And a good attacker who's in a post-player position like that will play that way. They'll make themselves very loud. Shift W is the best way to do that. They might even pepper some shots in your area, but they don't really want to challenge you. They just want you to get off the plant over and over and over again. With a 7-second diffuse, I mean, that's being counted in Citizen's head. His teammates are letting him know, all right, he's on. That's 1 second. That's 2 seconds. All right, you should probably challenge now. Okay, he's off. Don't peek. That's the comms coming out. There had to have been a drone there as well. But even just based off sound, Citizen would have played that perfectly. And that was a really, really good round. I was sitting here actually smirking, watching him do that, because as a defender, Corey was just helpless.
Nothing you can really do about that. You know you've got to try and stick it as that clock runs closer to that infamous 7-second mark, at which point the round is unrecoverable. Well played by Citizen. Well played by all of G2. And I almost want to call Uno a martyr here. Again, I keep on touching on it. So far this stage, he has been the best player for them, hands down. Like, in terms of pretty much most of the stats, he's stood up there. Admittedly, still at the brightest picture. Every single player has been negative on KD up until this point. This game, no doubt, going to be a massive turning point for them, given how things are looking. In fact, I think Virtue is going to have the highest KD across the whole team, given his performance so far, which is always great to see. I know there were a few doubters when he first joined across from Fnatic, and so far, my God, has he been stepping up.
Well, Citizen's feeling himself here, and as he gets onto the defense, he's saying, all right, I might have a little cheeky peek out towards the northern spawn, but no one spawns there. And that's because they're focused.
How many drones gone already? I thought I saw 3 crosses then. I was like, how have you lost 3 with the round?
Yeah, I was like, hang on, where? I'm like counting in my head.
It's okay.
My head going, huh?
I was very confused for a second. I thought Hostia lost one as well with how it was positioned with the background, I think. Never mind. As you were.
As you were, thank you very kindly. Look, I think the biggest thing here for Rogue is they'll be trying to replicate exactly what G2 did here and getting that top floor control. But they have decided to go all the way downstairs as their first bomb site. And I think the big thing about going downstairs first is, well, firstly, Leon Gids goes down to Kanto, who's roaming above. But the biggest thing about that is they were probably prepared for top floor. Have a look at the attackers here. They've only got 1 hard bridge. That's a lot to rely on, but G2 made it work.
Yeah, it's a bit of a scramble. I think Leon is genuinely competing for the worst entry record in a single map right now. He is 1-5. This has not been a pretty game for him on the entry. That much is confirmed, and we still might have quite a few more rounds to go. Either way, losing a Nomad in the entry, That's not the kind of operator you commit to those early fights, my friends. Either way, Uno going to find himself going down on a more dedicated entry-based operator in the Jaeger. So at least things are looking square there.
That easy pick that I believe Corey was able to get there onto Uno, that actually probably should have been half challenged by Kanto, who was also holding that angle. So I'm not sure whether or not that was a little bit of a miscommunication as to who was actually holding that angle or not. And now for Rogue. Yes, do go ahead.
They're not even looking for a vertical play with the sledge here. They're attacking horizontally. So despite having a sledge with all that destructive power, I thought we're at the 120 mark here and I can't hear Sledge. Where is he? He was still outside Bakery. So they're relying solely on a push here through prep. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this, Jess.
I think the call came out is that they're roaming, just go straight to side. And like when you make that call, you have to make it instantly. Everyone must follow that call instantly. Not 30 seconds later, it's too late then. Citizens are already back on the site. Kanto Raketti's still popping off. And I'm not even sure where that was from. That was from Bar and low HP Kanto Raketti nonetheless. Yeah, big thing here. Bad call, I think, because now the verticals are possibly in the hands of the defenders.
Hard part is as well, it was Hosty playing in that spot previously behind the bar. And look how much work Kanto is doing from there with a 3K for himself. That's how you make an impact in one of these rounds. Pengu's going to step up and find another. Poor Rips with a sledgehammer that he can't use playing horizontally. He's going to get cleaned up at the end by Citizen. G2 are a team transformed today, and Rogue still in the doldrums, still looking like after 5 play days, they will be sat on 0 points. That is unbelievable, given they finished first in the last split.
Yeah, we cannot understate this enough. Rogue, stage 1, if you did manage to just completely miss out on stage 1, then let us fill you in, because Rogue were the best team in stage 1. Even though BDS were some of the biggest hitters, Rogue walked away #1. You come into stage 2 and they are fairly squared themselves as the last team on the leaderboard. They went from the first to the last in a matter of a month. Now,
you know what the scariest thing is, Jess?
Sir,
if
go
this
ahead.
form carries on, they are currently at 19 points.
Okay.
They are not in the top 4. That's overall top 4. They will not make it to the EU finals in December.
Okay, I haven't calculated it, but when you say they're not top 4 with 19 points, what is the team that's sitting
that sounds
fourth?
So the team
Is that
have a
Empire?
guess. Who has done Empire? Are you joking?
They were
who has done
before
really
today's
well this
matchup.
stage? Who is currently 4-0 that we're going to see in the final game of the day?
Oh, of course, Secret.
Exactly. Top 4 overall. BDS first place with 31 points. G2 and Virtus Pro second and third with 22. Team Secret on 20 points. Team Secret could leave Rogue in the dirt and literally steal their place. Given Team Secret was second from bottom last stage, that would be one hell of a turnaround. No one, I guarantee no one, could have predicted that things could shape up this way. And even relegation side of things is looking insane right now. I love how this is shaping up between the stages and how all the points come together. We're going to have an exciting few play days coming up.
Okay, all we need now is the G2 to just absolutely stomp them in the dirt here, 7-1 them, walk away feeling revitalized. And I spoke about it, not last play day, but the play day before. I felt like G2 were looking revitalized. You said, Sua said, give them some time. They're swapping roles around, no problems, I'll give them time. But when you play like this, and you're able to get so many rounds in a row, especially against a team like Rogue, and yeah, okay, they're at their poorest form at the moment. And easy kill there for Leon Gids. But
finally,
I think for Rogue, I don't really want to pin it on the fact that, you know, Ace has had to be subbed out for the first few weeks, but maybe that's got something to do with it. Maybe it's shaking the team. Maybe the scrims aren't going the way that they wanted to because they've had someone in a key position. Well, we're on match point here.
I will definitely raise Hosty has been their top-rated player in 2 of their 4 games. So everyone who wants, I know the very easy answers to go, no aces, Hosty's crap, he can't do the same things that aces can. 1, aces is one of the best fraggers in the competition in Europe, hands down. 2, Hosty has still done pretty well. This is a team in disrepair right now, and I don't want to pin the blame all on this guy either. Leon in these entry fights goes to showcase to you how poor things have been looking. One of the key issues in Team Secret back when he was there, when Eunice was around, was Eunice was always going for opening frags by himself and losing, never playing as a pairing. Leon is literally doing the same now and being picked off here by Citizen with no ability to trade back, but admittedly from a roof, that's quite a hard thing to do.
It looks like with 3v3 here, G2, they need a big hitter like Citizen to be able to cap things off here, give them a 7-1 and a lot more confidence and momentum going onto Wednesday's Playday. For Rogue, however, this is dire. They need 5 rounds in a row to even get a draw point here. And the biggest shock of their life is they realize they will walk away completely defeated in this particular stage. Those smokes rain out. Are they going to get this plant down here, or are they going to be shut down by G2? The Elder goes brr, and it's all up to Rips now. And I'm taking your play-by-play, but I don't care, because guess what? G2 walk away with the 7-1, ladies and gentlemen, and Rogue, a hyper-defeated team in stage 2, give G2 that confidence that we know that all the G2 fans have been looking for.
And the confidence of Citizen as well. 2 rounds in which he got 4Ks there, walks away as the MVP for the team. It's so good to see them back in the form that we know that they could come into. The one thing I have to wonder and ask, is it just against a very weak Rogue? Not that it matters too much, because this is going to be a massive confidence booster for the boys. But on the other side of Rogue, I touched on it. Leon, 5 opening deaths he came into there across those 8 rounds that we saw. That was not fitting of, again, one of the top fraggers that we know can do massive things from the UK. We saw it with Team Secret last year, like the Allied Miner. Whatever's going wrong in this team, they have got to sort it, and I hope to God Aces can be the answer that they need. Let's go over to the desk and get their thoughts on what was one hell of a stomp from G2.